Wow. All right. Well, I haven't been on live in a while. This is going to be interesting. Very, very, very interesting. Anyway, hey y'all. Long time no see. It's been a minute. I know. It has. You guys are actually going to see me on live a little bit more. Hi. You guys are going to see me on live a little bit more in the coming days because I got some stuff to tell you about. Today is just the start. You're gonna see me tomorrow on live, Sunday on live, and then Monday, my wife and I have a big announcement. Hi, what's up, Jay? But today is really important for me because I am going to talk. Been checking out the Hi Diva, what up, Gert? I don't know if you guys have been checking out the checking out my posts recently, but I'm working with Signos right now, which is an amazing app that's
I'm
connected to my
great.
CGM.
How are you?
How are you doing?
Yes.
I'm
Hi,
doing well.
I'm
Introduce
Alyssa
yourself to
Wilson.
everyone.
I'm a registered and licensed dietitian, and I'm the head nutrition here at Signos.
Yes, and I've been working with Signos, I would say for like a year now, and partnered with them to really bring some education to you guys. There's so much stuff we're going to talk about today, but let me just keep it real. She's the one that sees my app, so she knows all of my sugars. And yes, I haven't like been posting all of my foods, but I don't feel bad because I
Yeah,
still
you
see
still
that.
have the reading.
What's going on too? Yes, this is all that matters. I know what I ate. I'd be like, I'm not gonna put that in that
Exactly.
frame.
Oh my gosh, Raven, we're so happy to be here with you and that having you on our Signos program. I just want to take this time and kind of dive into your experience. I'm sure everybody wants to hear about kind of what you've been learning on your health journey, and I'd love to just dive right in. So,
I would love to as well. I mean, honestly, and I've said this before on my socials, and my life pretty much, I have been every weight under the sun, every single weight. And I have tried every diet under the sun and eating trend, I guess you should say, because not all of the things that I've tried have been diets. And honestly, just not thinking about dieting, not thinking about my weight, and purely understanding what is really going on with my body has helped me maintain that jawline.
you're not alone.
Ow.
You're
Okay,
not alone
sorry.
on that. Our members, they have tried every diet. They've been coming from restricting and yo-yo dieting, and we're not about that at all. We're seeing what works best for you. This is not a diet, and you get that real-time insight and that real-time data of what is going on. So you can make these changes that are sustainable, and that works for you. Because what works for you may not work for me. What works for me may not work for you. So it's so individualized and so personal.
It is. Let's talk about it. Are you trying to tell them about my business?
About
Like,
your
what's
business,
what's the real tea?
Tell all of us about your experience with Signos and some of the main takeaways that you learned, really gaining that insight into your data.
Okay, for sure. I am getting a couple of people saying that we have bad audio. Is it me? Is it her? Y'all, let me know real quick if I can fix it. They're over here talking about cheetah girls. We're talking about health. I'm gonna need y'all to know. But okay, so no one's saying that it was just a couple people. Okay.
So share with us
again,
your experience with Signos, the main things that you've learned while having these insights into your glucose data.
Okay. My experience with Signos, first and foremost, I was watching YouTube, really trying to understand how to eat correctly. Okay, so one of my favorite people that I follow is now I'm forgetting my guy's name. I told Thomas DeLauer. Okay, thank you. So I was watching Thomas DeLauer, and I get a lot of information from him. How fasting works, how AMTPK, he's such a like plethora of information. But one of his videos came up and was like, I understand that when you eat something that raises your blood sugar over a long period of time, and over a long period of time, I mean days, weeks, months, you are pretty much inflaming your body and creating a very unhealthy environment for the temple that we live in. And I was like, okay, well, how do you know other than pricking your finger? So, I did like the keto mojo and stuff. I pricked my finger every
No,
day
you
and like,
don't have to prick
oh,
your
I
finger with
could
the
not touch
CGM.
anything. And
Yeah.
you don't have to prick your finger with the CGM. That's like the best thing. And so he said that he has a Signos. And I was like, oh, let me see what that is. And immediately I was like, this is exactly what I need. I have a CGM monitor that I attach either to my tummy or my arm. And since I sleep crazy, I put it on my tummy recently. And it keeps a record of what my blood sugar is doing throughout the entire day. So when I started seeing the trends, okay, I need to sleep better, because when I go to sleep at this time, my sugars are a little bit more elevated, and maybe I walk a little bit before I eat something here or there. And I was really able to see that coconut milk spikes me. Like, I can't have coconut milk because I know that it's going to rise my blood sugar. And the goal for me in my experience with Signos is to keep a stable little blue line. You guys might be wondering, what am I talking about? But on my phone, I get this really cool grid. And at the top of it, it gives me a number. Right now, it's like 80 something. You're welcome. And below it is this timeline. And it just is a blue line that goes like this throughout my day. But when I eat something, it can go up above my target, and they can go super below. And since I'm a faster, an intermittent faster, when we first started working together, you're like, your sugars are really low. I'm like, yeah, I fast for long periods of time, which has really helped my insulin resistance and has prevented me from going into type 2 diabetes, because I was really close to type 2 diabetes before I started working and having a Signos. And I was like, I am what is it called? Predisposition for it, meaning it runs in my family. I can get it faster than anybody. Bad words, but you know what I'm talking about. And so I said, okay, well, since I have that, and I lean towards having type 2 diabetes, I need something. And this is that something. So I know, okay, if I have 2 days of really high blood sugar and my Signos calendar is reading red, which March was crazy, I know that the next couple of days I can eat correctly and exercise after meals, 30 minutes, or before meals, depending on what works for my body in that way. But I have it in my hand. I literally can keep
this
talking
is so
about it.
great.
Please take it over.
You're able to basically see that data from your continuous glucose monitor, log your meals, and see what's working for you, what's not. Have you noticed anything as far as like your sleep, or like, have you noticed if your stress levels or any of those, has that affected your glucose?
Yes, so I got the sickness that shall not be named since 2020. And during that time, my sugars were crazy. When I get sick, I trend higher in my sugars. And I was like, that's a little interesting. And I think it's my body just overworking and things of that nature. So I really have to be careful of my intake. Also, stress, work. Oh, this was the coolest thing. Did I tell you this? Okay. So on my on my socials, you scroll down, you'll see a moment when I was in a club and I was singing an Alanis Morissette song, right? And I hadn't sung in a while. You guys know me from Cheetah Girls and all that, but I hadn't sung in a while. And we were underneath the ground. We were kind of in a basement kind of scenario. So I had my phone, but the Bluetooth situation wasn't working as much as I wanted it to. And also I was like very, very concentrated. I got out of that and I looked the next day at my Signos, and I saw that my adrenaline slash my blood sugars, and I hadn't eaten anything, went all the way up. I was probably like 160 from a 80. I spiked. I was like, how do I spike and not eat anything? And I attribute,
So
what would you say that is?
It's so interesting to see that. I have seen that too, even during presentations where I have not eaten anything, and all of a sudden I see that glucose spike. And so there are many, many reasons why we spike that is not food related. And exactly what you mentioned, stress is one of those. Cortisol, our stress hormone, is released, our blood sugar is elevated, so we can get ready to, when we think about originally what it was for, to either like fight or run away, but whether we're maybe sitting down or at work, our bodies are responding the same way. So that stress response can definitely impact your glucose. And that's exactly what you saw. Yeah.
That was crazy to me. So what I thought about at that moment was when I was 17, 16 and going on tour and never being able to really take care of my weight. I wasn't managing my weight appropriately. I was always on the thicker side when I was younger. In my head, I'm like, I was spiking before tour, and then it didn't help that I was working at fairs and eating fair food on top of that spike, just continuously not allowing my body to process the excess and negative sugars. I'm going to say negative because there's some sugars that are okay in the carb world, and then there's some that we don't need, and we're not going to get into that. But the fact that I'm seeing it now and I know how to regulate I'm gonna kind of change the subject. My appetite has been so much better. I'm not continuously hungry now that my
Cravings. And
sugars
even
are.
when you notice
What is that
times of
about?
stress, that's when we crave the fair type foods, But if you can make that connection saying, okay, I'm stressed, maybe I can take a few deep breaths, and help mitigate that stress response and help calm your body down. And then you can get into the right headspace where you're not craving these foods. Or maybe you notice this is the exact time where I want to make sure that I'm eating nutrient dense foods to fuel my body instead of kind of furthering that blood sugar roller coaster where you eat something that may spike you, then you're going to drop again and have cravings again. And we kind of want to break that. And when you see that data in real time, you can take note and see, okay, this is exactly what's going on in my body right now.
And the cool thing is that you don't have to be a diabetic to use Signos. You don't have to be. This is about good health in general. This is about understanding, like you said, what's going on with my body when I'm spiking, what's going on when I eat this. Like, you do not have to be sick already.
I
You
mean,
can
thinking
prevent
about
being
diabetes
sick.
and prediabetes, this does not happen overnight. So it can take years and sometimes decades to develop. So we want to make sure that we are seeing what's going on right now, that we can make sure we are, having the best health possible right now to prevent that down the line.
I remember we had a couple of sessions before we got on live together, and I was telling you that I was having a hard time sleeping, but you were like, well, what are your blood sugars? And I'm like, well, they're low because that's healthy. And you were like, yeah, but you're having a hard time sleeping. Maybe you need to have a little snack. Maybe you need to do something. And I was like, that's interesting. It's not always, it's about the balance of it, right? It's about knowing what your body needs to function appropriately. So now, instead of stopping eating around 1 o'clock, I'll stop eating around
So
3 or 4,
noticed,
and I sleep
looking at the
better.
data, making these small changes, it does not have to be, and that's another good thing that we at Signos really focus on, is that it does not have to be kind of this all or nothing change to where you have to change everything. That's not realistic. We're incorporating small habits and small behavior changes that, they may not seem like a lot right then, but it adds up over time and it makes a huge impact. Even just changing the timing of your meals or the meal order, or simply going for a walk meals, that makes a huge change. And that can really impact your glucose levels. So something small can go a long way.
Something small totally goes a long way. One of the things that I experienced, let's talk about a little bit of exercise or walk. Listen, I'm not trying to be in the gym for 30 hours. I'm not trying to do 4 hours in the gym for this so I can eat this. Like, that's not my thing. But one thing that I do love about Signos' app is that you have kind of games, in the sense that there's an activities folder or screen, and it's like, eat this and then see what your blood sugar does, and then it tells you when you're
Yeah.
spiking and how to mitigate it and take a walk. So the other day, I'm gonna keep it really nice. Oh my God. So the other day, I had a kimbap. If y'all know what kimbap is, that is a Korean roll. There's rice, there's all kinds of stuff in it. And I saw myself spiking, and I was like, I'll take it. But I went to go on, I went to upstairs, speak English. I went upstairs to my walking pad and I walked at a 4.0 for 30 minutes. And immediately, immediately, my sugars went all the way down. I was probably at like a 110, and I went down to a 70. It kind of scared me. It kind of scared me. But at the same time, I was like, that's exactly what my body needed. It took in energy, and now I'm using it. And a lot of times we eat and chill and watch a movie, and it's like, that's not what we're supposed to be eating. We're
Right. You
eating for
eat
energy.
something, and something as simple as going on the walking pad, taking that glucose in your bloodstream, your muscles are taking that in and using it. And so that's where you saw go down. And we've seen some really cool things. And we've done some experiments internally with our team, you know, a glass of orange juice on its own, and then a glass of orange juice, and then going for a bike ride or going for a walk. And, you know, the changes in the spikes are drastic. You know, you can really help reduce that spike by simple movement. In that activities tab, we have over 50 expert created activities that take you through things like you just mentioned, exercising maybe before versus after eating, or even just try and slow down when you're eating your meal. You know, not scarfing your meal down, which is so common. I mean, I'm guilty of it too. You know, it's easy to get caught up in work and you just eat really fast and then your food's gone. And you're like, whoa, I didn't even enjoy that. But just simply, you know, taking your time and eating your meal, you can see a lower spike doing that. So that's one of our activities. We take you through all these different activities where you learn and you experiment to see what works best for you.
It sounds like a lot, but if you're really serious about your health, you kind of have to treat your body like an experiment. We weren't taught, well, I wasn't taught when I was younger, like, if you eat this and your legs start shaking, you probably have too much sugar in your system. You know, you're excited. This is cortisol. I'm not taught that as a kid. I'm taught eat, sit down, do my work, get up, play at recess, but don't have snack. Like, it's not really coherent. So as an adult, and my A-type personality, but it doesn't need that. I like to know that every day is a little bit of an experiment for me. You know, like we talked about, like, I love pizza, honey. Who doesn't love pizza? And it's not like I can't have it, right? You can have it. It's just like I said earlier, do you eat salad beforehand?
What?
You know what else I find that really helps me? Fiber. I'll take psyllium husk before I eat pizza. When I'm having one of those days, I'll take 4 psyllium husks. I'll wait like a couple minutes, probably not the longest I should. I probably should wait longer. But I swear, when I eat that pizza, it's like nothing happens to my blood sugar, which makes me feel like my body's
having
processing
those
appropriately. Am I
veggies and
crazy?
that fiber, especially like you mentioned with the salad or the psyllium husk, having that fiber, that delays the digestion and the breakdown of carbs. So you're not going to see as drastic of a spike, and you're filling yourself up. You're getting these nutrients, which is all good for you. So, you know, that's one example of the meal order, exactly how you described it. Not never having pizza again. That is not realistic. We do not recommend that. We want you to enjoy your pizza. So something as simple as adding a salad beforehand is a great tool to use.
I love that. I love that. Protein helps as well. Like, that's a big thing for me. And I remember kind of doing my research. People were like, if you eat too much protein, you spike. And I'm just like, yeah, but how long and how high do I spike? If I spike a little bit and then I coast down slowly, that's not bad. But if I'm spiked for the rest of the night and my blood sugars can't assess, because please tell me I'm quoting this wrong, but our body can only hold a certain amount of sugar within our bloodstream for a certain period of time before it becomes corrupt.
Yeah, we have a limited amount of
There
storage
it
of
is.
glucose in our liver and our muscles as glycogen. And so once that's filled up to storage, then excess glucose, which you can see over time, excess sugar and other issues can lead to excess glucose in the bloodstream. And then excess sugar can also be converted to fat, where you can see elevated fat stores. So yeah, exactly. Like, we only have a limited storage, and then excess sugar is converted to fat, and then excess sugar in the bloodstream can lead to chronic illnesses, and that's just not what we want. Not
That's not what we want. that, and we can avoid that by knowing how much sugar is in our stream right now with Signos. And it's much more complicated than that, you guys. I'm totally simplifying it, so forgive me if I'm whatever. But for me, and like just waking up, I'm like, okay, I'm balanced. I like to stay like earlier you said every person's body is different. For me, I feel my healthiest when I'm between like 90 and 70.
Yeah,
I'm
no,
light on
everyone is
feet.
different. Like I
What's
feel really
yours?
good in that 80 range. And everybody on Signos has an optimal range for them. So you will find once you're on the program, you have your own optimal range where you want to stay in. And when we think about our glucose levels, we don't want a flat line completely. When we're eating carbs and natural digestion, you're going to have kind of these rounded hills. What we want to avoid, just like you mentioned, not all spikes are bad. I mean, we think intense exercise can cause a spike. But what we want to avoid are the peaks and valleys, the high spikes, the spikes that, go very high and come back down, or the spikes where you have a large area under the curve where they spike and they take hours and hours to come back down. So we're really looking for those rounded curves and a lower variability, so you're not seeing kind of like just the peaks and valleys all day, because not only is that detrimental for your health in the long run when we talk about our risk for chronic diseases, but also in the short term, like day to day, that can lead to those energy crashes and cravings. And me personally, I've noticed like irritability, and you just don't feel good. That's what we want to avoid. We want to wake up, we want to have after a good night's sleep, we want to have that natural energy for the day. We want to have a clear mind. We don't want brain fog. We don't want intense cravings. And all those things that you mentioned, even having enough protein at your meals, especially first thing in the morning, that helps set the tone for your day.
It's funny you bring that up because morning meals, there's this conspiracy theory going around that breakfast is the most important meal of the day. And I'm like,
Yes.
it depends on what kind of breakfast you're eating. Like, if you're having bacon and eggs, for sure. If you're having a sugary cereal, no, you just ruined the most important meal of the day. And also, just on a fasting tip, you can have breakfast at any time because you're breaking your fast. There was someone in the comments that said they've been trying to lose weight for so long, and I don't know, they don't know how to lower their insulin intake, and they feel like everything has sugar in it, and everything does. If you buy it in a package, everything does. But it's about shopping on the outside of the grocery store.
Exactly.
It's about moderation. It's
And
about
pairing your
cooking
foods,
your
making sure you're having balanced meals, and making sure that we are just eating nutrient dense foods. You talked about fiber. Most of us don't get enough fiber. Most of us don't eat enough vegetables. If we're constantly choosing packaged and processed foods, that's not going to lead to optimal health. So we want to make sure first thing is that we're eating real foods, and you're going to eat those foods at what times and what works best for your body. Like you mentioned, the sugary cereals or the standard American diet, or what we call the SAD diet. Your day on a blood sugar roller coaster with a big spike after maybe like muffins or pastries or cereal. And typically what we see too is if you start your morning like that, you're gonna have cravings throughout the day. You're gonna end your night with that and having those cravings. So your first meal of the day, making sure that it's, you can get vegetables and get fiber, get protein, get whole foods, healthy fats, and that's what we want.
There was someone else in the comments that said, "Is there a recommended age to start being on top of your blood sugar glucose levels?" She's 20 or they're 25 and have always had a sweet tooth. Would
Absolutely.
I benefit from
I
this?
had this when I was 25. When I was 25 and like first thing into my career, even as a dietitian, I was so unhealthy. I was eating, the low fat processed foods and the sandwich thins, and like, and I wish I could have had signals to see what my glucose was doing, because especially during high stress and new jobs or like out of grad school, and your blood sugar can go on a roller coaster anyways, and then adding those foods, so the sooner the better. It gives you insight. The
Yes, yes. I mean, I've been in the industry since I was 3 years old. I have had a weight fluctuation starting at around 11. And I know that there are people in the world that have type 1 diabetes early and type 2 diabetes early, and you can prevent type 2 diabetes, insulin resistance, and you can just understand yourself, because even if you don't have it or your predisposition for it, why not understand your body? We understand how a computer works, we understand how to, go on YouTube. I'm just coming up with stuff, but we tend to search so much outside of ourselves and not even know that that Snickers is not actually helping your hunger. It's not helping your hunger. It's actually going to make you hungrier. I remember when I first got married to my wife, before I got control of my health, if I didn't eat when I said I was hungry, there was going to be an absolute fight. And she'd be like, but, no, I need to eat right now. And as soon as I started taking control of my sugars and taking control of my own health, if I'm hungry, I'm not hangry. I'm not trying to slit anyone's throat. I'm not trying to just stuff French fries in my mouth. I'm more aware of the foods that I put in. Like if I'm hungry now, I'll be like, okay, I can't eat a real meal because I'm working, and that happens. Sometimes you can't sit down and have a real meal. But instead of grabbing chips, instead of grabbing bugles, instead of grabbing a carb or even a fruit, I will try to grab some nuts. I will try and grab some cheese. I'll grab something that's a little bit higher in fat, because fat is satiating. That's a lie that they told us. Fat is very
Yes, it
satiating and
helps
our
fuel our
body
brain. It
needs it
helps
to
reduce
survive.
inflammation. It provides fat soluble vitamins. It keeps us fuller longer. And you know what's even better? It provides flavor. Yeah.
That part.
Well, Raven, this has been amazing. I know we've seen a little bit about the spotty audio. I have seen a
I sorry, guys, don't worry, but I'm gonna post this on my reels. And I think we should do this again. I would love, I mean, we got to figure out a way to show them the
yep,
screen of
let's do it.
Signos and like what it looks like during a live. And again, you can sign up for Signos. Just go to signos.com, and they have different plans. Like you can
We
be
have
on it
a
for how
1 month,
long? Like
a 3
what are
month,
your
and a
plans
6
there?
month plan. So those are our three subscription options. You choose what works best for you, and then we'll provide you the prescription for the CGM and all of the supplies and access to our app.
And it's super easy. Wait, hold on. Let me make sure. Oh, I don't have my Signos patch on today. But my wife actually wants, there she did. There she has it. It's actually like a rite of passage. Welcome to the Signos crew. My wife wants to start one, and she wants to do it for a month. So we're going to sign her up. And again, my wife, super svelte, exercises every morning, eats much better than me. But it will be interesting to see that no matter how healthy you are, what your body
Yep,
responds to, even if
absolutely.
you've been
Well,
okay
let's do
for a
it
while.
again. Hopefully the audio will come through and you post it. If not, we definitely have to do this again. We have so much more to share. We can bring up the data so everyone can see it too. Yes, you too. All
Thank you
right.
so much. Good to see you. Bye, everybody.